Hey everyone, we are here with the weekly update. I did not forget. We just came on a little bit later today. It's been a busy week and it's been picking up definitely real estate in Edmonton, though it's summer market and we tend to slow down. We're seeing an influx of people wanting to buy right now because the interest rate hold that they have, but also moving in before September is the theme, is what I keep hearing. So if you're wanting to move in before September, you've got to be looking right now because then we can write an offer, have your conditions, and closing within 30 days. So it's pretty tight, but it is possible. And that is what we're helping clients with right now. So today we're talking about what happened in the last 7 days. And the amount of listings on the market is less than there was the week before. Like I said last week, no surprise because inventory tends to drop over the summer months. So you've got even less choices. We've already had low choices to begin with. You would think that would build a seller's market, but it does not build a seller's market because a seller's market is low inventory, but also high demand. The demand is not as high as it was last year. And the things that are holding back demand are interest rates and the fact that some of these listings are too high in price and the buyers are not willing to overpay and deal with the market that they had last year. One, because their mortgage payments are significantly higher than they would have been last year with the lower interest rates and they're very hesitant on getting into multiple offers if they don't need to. Now in St. Albert, we have about the same amount of listings, 193 versus 190, and Sherwood Park 104 versus 100, and Spruce Grove 164 versus 155. So in the surrounding areas, nothing too crazy, but in Edmonton, we did lower that. Now looking at pending sales, how many deals went into contract in the last 7 days? We had 195, so the demand was lower than the week before, 205. St. Albert had a lot less as well, and in Sherwood Park a lot less, and Spruce Grove a little bit. So you can see the demand and the people writing deals is lowering, and so is the interest rates. Or sorry, the interest rates. The interest rates are not lowering. The listings are lowering. Now, if you take a look at the sold properties are basically the houses that were pending, or maybe they went unconditional, which we're not seeing a whole lot of at all this year. In the last 7 days, we had 167 versus 222 and 14 versus 20 in St. Albert, 20 versus 21 in Sherwood Park, and 16 versus 14 in Spruce Grove. So surrounding areas are staying pretty much flatlined. Edmonton is starting to decrease. It is July. It is likely going to continue to decrease over the next few months. So it is still a great opportunity for you to purchase a home as a buyer. If you got that rate hold in, if you don't, go call a mortgage broker as soon as possible. They are 120-day rate holds. So we want to take a look at last year compared to this year. Last year, we had 196 last year versus 167 this year. So you can see the amount of sales is lower, and that's been the trend for a while. And then if you take a look at St. Albert, we had more, almost double in sales. Sherwood Park was pretty much the same. And like I said, Sherwood Park always stays pretty consistent over the market. So when the market is low, even if I'd say 5-6 years ago, Sherwood Park market never really took as big of a hit as the market in Edmonton. They've always stayed really strong, and it could be the fact that it's a smaller area, lots of single family homes in that neighborhood. Spruce Grove will take more of a hit. Spruce Grove, Stony Plain, Leduc, Beaumont, those areas, but St. Albert and Sherwood Park usually are quite strong and remain stronger than Edmonton. So if you're looking for long-term equity gain and safety, those two cities they're like suburbs of Edmonton. In Edmonton itself, because we have such a variety of different homes, ranging from homes that are 100 years old all the way to 50 years old to 5 years old to brand new, we've got a big span of different neighborhoods. You've got old mature neighborhoods and brand new suburban areas. So those are going to be impacted differently, of course. And so they kind of average out, right? So the new build market took a big hit in 2009, and you could see that things were cheaper to buy new about 5 years ago. And then 3 years ago, when the market started to pick up, they became very unaffordable to buy because their prices kept increasing. Now the market is adjusted. It's still more expensive to buy new. However, they're not increasing anymore. And I am seeing in some situations where the new build is actually getting closer to the same cost as the resale. So it's starting to make people be more intrigued again to buying new. We are seeing some incentives where some builders are basically helping you do everything just to move in ready. So it's very similar to a resale. And I'm seeing some sellers be quite stubborn on their pricing. And so, though they've been sitting on the market for 4 weeks, they're not changing their price. And they're not going to get that price. If just a spoiler alert, if a house has been sitting on the market for 4 weeks, it's not going to all of a sudden miraculously sell for the price that it's been listed for 4 weeks. So if buyers are seeing that stubbornness, they're not necessarily going to negotiate. If you do get an offer and they still don't want to negotiate because of whatever it is, you really have to take a hard look at the motivation of the seller and the motivation of the buyer. Buyer's motivation is pretty strong right now because a lot of people want to move in the next 30 to 60 days, maybe even 45 days. And the interest rate holds are starting to expire. So it's starting to cause a bit of panic with some of the people that do have rate holds. And with new builds, if you're buying a spec, it's safe. But if you're buying something that's being built, you're a little bit stressed because you don't know the exact date. So my recommendation when buying new, A, use a realtor to help represent you and find the right builder, but B, make sure it's a spec because then you know it's already done. And then you have a date, and that's one less thing to have to worry about. When you're looking at, if you should be selling in this market, 100% you should be selling as long as you price properly. Don't price above what market has been selling for. Price either at market or a little bit below, and you will move. And if the house is worth more, it'll still be able to adjust it. But buyers are definitely a lot more sensitive to the price. And so it makes our inventory level looking like a seller's market actually be more of a balanced market because of the lack of demand. So hopefully that video gives you some insight. We'll be back again next Tuesday. And don't forget to subscribe and watch our video coming up this Saturday, all about Laurie Heights.